Hello and welcome to Cabalvision HD's Bico League show brought to you by Bloodwiser. This is your one-stop shop for all of the amazing and exciting action in the past week of Bico League. I'm your host Jim, and I'm joined as always by the second fastest big guy in Bico League, Leslie Flowers,
Hello.
and also the master of our takes, an old veteran coach here to give us young guys some wisdom, Mr. Skulls.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Now it's time for us to start the recap section of the show where we go across all of the latest games happening in Bico League. Let us head right on down to Paradise City, where I watched Coach Maurice's natural born foulers face off against the baseless accusations coached by Dr. WTF. This match was controlled by the humans from the very beginning with two methodical drives down the field, with Shaven to the Bone scoring on the first. Family Man was able to get a block after block against the Dark Elves, taking out both Lavrenti, Beria, and Harvey Weinstein in the first half. However, no injuries could be scored, much to the chagrin of Maurice, who, while he could keep knocking players out, just couldn't seem to inflict much of anything else stronger. The baseless accusations try to get out of this with a short passing play by Kevin Spacey to advance the ball downfield, but the overwhelming pressure that the natural born foulers was able to press upon them was too much, being able to snatch the ball back, and after a decent run, LinkedIn Park scored to make it 2-0. It's worth mentioning that big guy Robbie, who has been under a lot of pressure from both the media and his baby mamas recently, was able to perform well this match, rarely suffering from boneheadedness as he often does, and even getting a reroll successfully used on him, not succumbing to the loner attribute that a lot of big guys sadly face. Perhaps they're just, a little depressed, a little socially anxious. Bald Gene won the MVP from this match, putting him only one touchdown shy of leveling up. However, Dr. WTF's team perhaps came from this with an even better result. MVP Kevin Spacey being only one successful pass from getting to level 3. I'll say that this game was a showcase of the mighty blow strategy that Coach Maurice has been pioneering here in Bico League. Definitely one to watch back for all of the positioning heads out there. There's plenty to learn. But we have a packed show, so let's move on. Leslie,
Yes.
you were at Cretin Community College's coached by Capri's 2-1 win over Leo's bulging BBC 4.
I was.
How did this match go?
Well, I've got to say, guys, I absolutely loved the first drive of this match. Whether intentional or not, it highlights what Bretonia has going for them at its core, with just a smorgasbord of handy skills in the back pocket. The one in particular that's showing up here was Dauntless on all three of the blitzes, being able to handily deal with the strength 4 Sauruses. Aside from that, it was a clean textbook cage moving up the field until the coolest Daniel goes for the touchdown, taking the lead of 1-0. Not to be outdone, Capri uses the remainder of the half to exemplify the strengths of the Lizardmen by using the Sauruses to knock everyone down and use the Skinks to sprint like a bat out of hell with the ball to the touchdown line, tying up the game going into half time. The second half sees Capri embracing the philosophy of if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but with a slight twist of taking advantage of a touchback to start one of the Sauruses with the ball. But it doesn't take long for him to hand it off to the skink, dubious little fellow, after seeing the Bretonians closing in and himself not necessarily being able to weasel his way out of it if the defense turns sour, which was definitely the right play, and little fellow books it down and around to the touchdown line, completely unfazed by the paltry attempts to slow him down, bringing CCC to 2-1 on turn 12.
I mean, Capri's got to be happy with getting ahead, but maybe feeling a bit sad that the Saurus couldn't get 3 SPP from scoring.
Absolutely. I mean, it's something any bashy coach aspires for some of their bashy players. However, the remaining 4 turns were marked by what I can only describe as one of the most uncooperative balls in Blood Bowl history, With bulging BBC on a fence, a multi-fumbled pass lands the ball directly among the strong Lizardmen defensive formation, who also fumble the ball, buying time for the bulging boys to get among the ruckus and send a lineman down the field in anticipation of a blitzer grabbing the ball, which they try to do, and fumble, ending out the match.
But good tactical sight
Yeah,
from the bulging coach.
I gotta say that I loved this match. It's hard to explain. Just a really good match of Blood Bowl. Absolutely a top contender for my favorite match of the league. So well executed, it felt more important to talk about the players themselves than the absolute shitter of a wizard Leo Hyde or the attempted murder on Birthing Pool Shooter. And you know me, guys, I love an attempted murder.
Oh, 100%. Wow, I had no idea that this match was so competitive. I might
Ab-
have to break
absolutely
out
a
the old crystal ball and watch it tonight.
yeah, absolutely a must watch.
Well, we sadly have to move on. Mr. Skulls, Manlet's British Museum Moe is tied against Moon's 105.2 Hard Rock Cabal. Perhaps a bit of an upset.
I'd indeed. Last week I predicted this was going to be a wash, that Coach Moon was gonna wipe like a 3-0 score or something. RPA on my face, dear listeners. This match had quite an irregular start. Right before kickoff, a blizzard rolled in, and the visibility being affected so much sent the fans in the stadium into quite a rage. They started rioting about the conditions. It was quite short-lived, but it took some time for things to simmer down for the game to start safely, and that did eat into the schedule. The weather also meant that players were neutered when it comes to making mad dashes, something that Coach Moon must have been sweating over despite the chill. Radioactive is prone to do such things after all. Uh, and he would have been right to worry too, considering he failed the first going for it through sure feet on the first turn. This slip up doesn't amount to much, however, as the Moyais simply do not have the strength to bash through the ball and to bash through to the ball. And Coach Manlit quickly finds out that you just can't outbash dwarves. A few turns later, Radioactive's carrying the ball. He's caged up in between dwarves, resting easy, knowing he's untouchable. But what he doesn't expect is a streak of green against the grass as Patmos' strongest soldier dodges through the cage and slams himself into Radioactive. And ladies and gentlemen, 3 flashes of red later, Radioactive is down and stunned. And the
Oh my
crowd, let
god.
me tell you, it was going insane. Strongest soldier indeed.
Is
Through a
radioactive
mic.
washed? Sorry.
Oh, yeah, well, it did throw a mighty spanner in the works for sure, but Coach Moon did manage to clutch a turn 8 touchdown. The second half starts with a blizzard clearing up, which you'd think would please the fans after that display at the start, but seemingly they started to enjoy it, and clear skies turned them absolutely rabid, a wave of them even invading the pitch. After things settled down, a struggle for the center field keeps going for the first few turns, while Bico Clash contestant fails to pick up the ball multiple times. Clearly, the ball was still wet from Blizzard. Radioactive was closing in on his position, but just then he decides to stop fucking around, grab it, run as fast as he can, and throws it into the sky, overshooting any of his teammates by quite a bit, but removing the ball from any danger. Higurashi Tua is there to intercept all Rock all the time's attempt at recovery, and the blitz sends the ball into his grimy paws, securing a touchdown for a 1-1 tie. After this, Coach Moon tries desperately to get the winning down in, and on the very last turn he seemingly has it, only needing to do one dodge with Radioactive, but confident Travis is there to ruin his day. Not break tackle nor a reroll can salvage the dodge, and the centaur falls on his ass just as the whistle is blown. This is a pivotal tie for Coach Moon, as this knocks him down to a tied second place, putting Coach Capri in the lead. A tough spot to be sure.
But there's still plenty of games to go for those rankings to change.
Absolutely. And as a last note, I do have to say, I earlier in the podcast I did not mention Robbie when the discussion moved to him, because my goodness, this week big guys, the big guys of the league really, they just were not up to it. Butcher Pete this game did fuck all, as did Nerevarine in the Coach Capri versus Coach Leo matchup. It really is a tough time for these big guys.
Is Butcher Pete Mr. Skull's shitter of the week?
Oh, absolutely. We're bringing it back. He spent half the game cushy on the grass. He didn't do absolutely anything. One of the shittest players of the week for sure.
Well, Robbie's got to be happy about that. When I see Butcher Pete, I maybe get flashes of a player from another league by the name of Zezga.
Oh,
He's not in
absolutely.
Bico League. So
Well,
let's move.
I wouldn't call Butcher Pete that bad just yet, but after this display, if he doesn't get his shit together, he might just be he might just get that level of notoriety.
Zezga, apparently his agent's been calling around trying to get him signed on a
Good
team,
luck with that.
but let's hope that doesn't happen. Anyway, we got to keep the show moving. Leslie, you were at another ties. Coach Sleepy Shuriman University 1-1 against Idojin's My Anime Figures, the Amazon team. How did this match go?
Well, to start off, I had a great time. Shuriman University spared no expense when it came to the construction of Shurima Stadium, and I had a fantastic time and a fantastic view of the match from the VIP box along with other esteemed guests.
Oh.
Overall, it was a very strong match. Every type of player playing their niche to its full capacity. Ogres smacking things, Amazons dodging, Noblars hurting themselves, performing basic tasks, that sort of thing. During the first half, we see Ogres put their diversity on full display with weedy little J-Hope grabbing the ball, then bobbing and weaving through a web of Amazons to hand the ball off to the mighty gambling addict. He starts making his way down the field while the Amazons make a play to halt him, but are unable to levy the girl power necessary to safely bring him down, which buys time for Ogre reinforcements to come and support Gambling Addict in his bid to score a touchdown, which after the rest of the team makes sure the Amazons are sufficiently battered, he does, putting Sherman University in a 1-0 lead going into half-time. The second half starts off in a daring situation. A high kick allows the Amazons to reposition a player to catch the ball, but with one small caveat. The ball is destined to land on the scrimmage line in front of the 6th strength ogre, Johnny Guitar.
Not a good spot for the Amazons.
Absolutely not. Maoi Hachikuji takes the plunge but fails to catch the ball. My Anime Figures divert everyone they can to try and secure the surrounding area. They see some early success in this regard, but the catcher Shimikaze is tasked with keeping an eye on the downed Johnny Guitar, which puts her in the line of fire when he blitzes. The elbow to her skull was shattering, with initial assessments thinking her dead judging by the cavity left behind. But pitch-side apothecaries assured everyone she will recover. However, it's safe to say the structural integrity of her skull will never be what it once was. With the injury tended to, the Amazons now have to divert their attention back to retaining possession of the ball. Seeing keeping the ball where it is to be a lost cause, they make strides to get the ball out of the area, but make the questionable decision to move it only just outside the encroaching horde of ogres rather than to some of their further afield Amazons. As you can expect, the ogres are breathing down their necks again in an instant, forcing even more desperate plays to try and keep the ball out of the hands of the opponent. This isn't to say the ogres were without their own desperation. In a last ditch attempt to stop the Amazons from finally breaking free with the ball, Johnny Guitar partakes in the time honored tradition of big guys and launches the nearby Mr. President at the ball carrier. He misses her, but does manage to nail her wingman, Yuiko Ukizumi. Okuzumi? Jim, help me out here.
Okuzumi.
Okuzumi. Knocking her
Very
out.
strange names these Amazons have.
Absolutely. This, however, doesn't prevent the touchdown, and Mitsuru Kirijo ties up the game 1-1.
So what did we learn?
Don't fuck with ogres.
Yeah, and that Shriman University is the one place to go if you're a big guy who wants to play Blood Bowl and doesn't want to be a shitter like the rest of them.
And chili cheese fries. If you love chili cheese fries, go to Shurima Stadium.
Oh, absolutely. Best I've ever had.
Are you guys getting paid or something? Go on.
No,
Where's my good?
I'm getting fed.
All right. Well, are there any closing remarks, or should we move on?
I think that's it, Jim.
All right. Well, finally, a massive upset, or perhaps was it? SHG's Twitch Gamers 2-0 victory over Fox's Parkour Pros, Mr. Skulls. You were at this match, and you had some things to say last podcast.
Massive upset indeed. Pop a bottle for the Twitch Gamers' first victory. Man, many thought it just couldn't be done. I had my doubts as well, as you may have heard last time. All it took was a match against rookie coach Fox to do it. The aftermath of their game against the baseless accusations have left the gamers in a very rough spot. What with KSG 4011 Drills Edition's untimely departure from the pitch and from the Mortal Coil. However, instead of hurting their morale, this seems to only have emboldened them, so much so that at the start of the game they're so locked in that they get a blitz round, with Northern Line making an explosive offense to get close to the line, and the Orcs were simply too slow to respond, leading to a very fast touchdown. They kept this energy next drive, getting another blitz round. Call it what you will, ladies and gentlemen. The two blitzes, one after the other, might just be what it takes for you to win a match as well.
Hey, it got some off the
Yeah.
line. They got some fast
Yeah.
reactions, these vampires.
They take what they can get. They do get another blitz round, but a well-timed pass to backward jump takes the ball out of danger. Not for long though, as Skyrim 6 mods responds quickly, snatching the ball. Coach Fox's gumption once again, though, shines through. Global housing crisis, star player, I would say, of the Parkour Pros, shadows him twice and causes him to trip and fall. This leads to a prolonged struggle for the ball that has PS5 breaking off from the mass, and right before the whistle, he steps on the line, securing a solid 2-0 lead going into the second half.
So
So,
that was a Thrall touchdown?
absolutely, it was a Thrall touchdown. Something you wouldn't expect out of a vampire team.
Why are they
Coach
even paying
SHG
these vampires then? Sorry, continue.
truly. You wouldn't think so, but Coach SHG has grander plans for these Thralls. In the second half, things are significantly more messy, as a touchback and a bounce off the edge means that the ball is never secure for either team, and the back and forth that lasts almost the entire half leaves it in the hands of Raw Beef very close to the line. Uh, the vampires try to blitz him, try to get the ball out of him, but they get beaten to a pulp by the orcs, and Raw Beef is lined up to score. Unfortunately, it's not meant to be, as on turn 16, he fumbles the ball catastrophically. Why that happened isn't clear, but alas, the ball simply leaves his hands and he cannot get it back for a victory. Not for a victory, for a 2-1 loss, but for a touchdown. Man, finally the Twitch gamers win a match. Something vampire fans have been craving dearly. The next few matches are going to be very hectic, but I personally think this victory is enough to give them the confidence to snatch at least one more, I would say.
Mhm.
As for Coach Fox, this is pretty much the result I expected, but I'm happy to see that the Greenhorn is getting better and better. We might just have a future heavyweight on our hands with this one.
Mm. It's maybe taken a few games for him to find his groove. Definitely
Indeed.
showing a lot of promise.
Well,
Well, no,
which
go
which
ahead.
coach which coach can say that they don't take a few games at the start of their career to get all the shitty plays out of the way?
Maurice, I think. Anyway, with that, let's move
I
on.
would say that we don't know Maurice's beginnings. Who knows what kind of dog
They're
shit he was
heavily,
pulling out.
they're heavily mythologized.
Man.
Well, let's finish off with the power rankings. In first place, shooting up, Capri's Credon Community College with 5 wins and 1 loss. Second is Moonbear's 105.2 Hard Rock Cabal with 4 wins, 1 draw, and 1 loss. Maurice's Natural Born Fowlers also have an identical record but have lost the head to head between them. In week 1, Idosian's My Anime Figures are 4th with 2 wins, 3 draws, and a loss. Sleepy's Shuriman University is 5th with a perfect 2-2-2 record, extremely balanced. Doc WTF's Baseless Accusations and Manlet's British Museum Moeis are 6th and 7th, with 2 wins, 1 draw, and 3 losses for both of them. SHG's Twitch Gamers shoot up the rankings from 9th to 8th, with 1 win, 3 draws, and 2 losses. Fox's Parkour Pros are in 9th with 1 win, 1 draw, and 4 losses. And finally, still holding up the table, Leo's Bulging's BBC4 with 0 wins, 1 draw, and 5 losses. Now it's time for us to get to know our coaches a little better. Our very own Leslie Flowers travelled to Sylvania to interview Coach SHG of the Twitch Gamers after his first win of the season. Over to you, Leslie.
I'm here in Sylvania in Monarsgeld Tavern, the world-renowned vampire tavern, with none other than Coach SHG. How are you?
I'm feeling very good this day. It's been a good week for me. Thank you, Leslie.
It has been a good week indeed. Congratulations on your first victory this season, a 2-0 over the Parkour Pros.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, it was I think long overdue. I won't lie. I definitely was having how you say some thoughts that I might not be able to win the game this season. So to get the result from this match, I think we were very underestimated. The opposing coach, who I will not name, he made some insinuations that this would be an easy game. And hey, you judge our record, perhaps it should have been, but when people count us out, that's when we bite, and overconfidence. They say something about it.
Absolutely, they do. Well, I got to be honest with you, SHG here. You are one of the longest running coaches. You've been in Bico League since its founding, really.
Yes. Yes.
And you were out of the gates as a fantastic coach, but despite all our digging, we never found anything concrete as to where you actually came from. Would you be willing to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Of course, of course. My life is an open book. There just aren't many readers. No, so I got started about 13 years ago in the war games.
Oh, you were in the army.
Sorry, excuse me.
You were in the army.
Yes, as a tactical thing. Of course, in this world, there's a lot of fighting, and it's not necessarily as impressive to join the army. Almost everyone does it, but yes, I commanded, and that's my background. And you're not fighting all the time. Um, so in our downtime, I sort of got into amateur Blood Bowl about 8 years ago. I've been off and on, just amateur teams. While also managing, while commanding, wargame forces. But uh, yes, I've been, I was running an amateur league myself when the call of the Bico Commission decided to make the league, and I was invited, and yeah, I've been here since its founding. So I have a lot of experience, but a lot of it is from the army, and there are skills that carry over, of course. But
Absolutely. Obviously, great discipline would be something that is very valuable in both the sport and, well, the
mm,
military.
absolutely.
Oh, right. That's fascinating. Uh, I'd say back to something a bit more recent though. Now, I would like to ask you a lot about this whole Tony Rat University controversy.
Yes,
But
it has been a saga in the media. I
yeah,
know, I know.
but I mean, and in that saga, it has been made abundantly clear that there is enough NDA involved to sink an Imperial Navy. However, there is something else I would like to ask you about, and that is, uh, it's actually the start of the season. The Bico League Foundation got in a consultant from the Institute of Racial Handicaps to help reallocate funding to disadvantaged teams. During this discussion, you were marked as one of the key figures for pushing for Vampires to be considered a Tier 3 team, up from the advised Tier 4. Having now signed on with Vampires and reaping the fruits of your labor, are you still confident that they are a Tier 3 team?
Well, first of all, Leslie, let me say, quickly to touch on the Tony Hart situation. I haven't spoken about it because I don't respect the media, but I respect you. So if perhaps we have time at the end of this interview, I'd be happy to talk about it with you. But to answer the question you asked, yes, I was consulted by several people from the Institute of Racial Handicaps about the placement of vampires, and I I think maybe our listeners don't know that between seasons as coaches we engage in amateur coaching, of amateur local teams, to hone our coaching skills, and I had coached quite a few vampire teams, on these one-off occasions, and I was very familiar with how they played, and um, I fear that we may have just been quite unlucky this season because I as a four-tier system exists, I think the vampires deserve to be tier 3. They are better than halflings. They are better than goblins, and frankly, Coach Sleepy's doing a fantastic job, but they're better than ogres. So perhaps on a 5-tier system, yes, maybe they're not the same as the other tier 3 teams. But no, I stand by. I think our performances have mainly been due to someone luck, and I can admit maybe some lax training here or there, or some of my players getting a bit carried away. But no, I stand by that. Ultimately, vampires are a tier 3 team.
That's great to hear. Speaking of things that would be good to hear, how are the good kids doing? There were rumors of an exhibition match starring them a few days ago. Were you
Yes,
involved in this at all?
I was a guest coach for them. They're doing good. I have a great relationship with both the players and management. Sadly, some of the fans still hold a grudge on me not pressing for the second game. in last season's Crown Championship finals, but I stand by that. I'm not sure. I think more players could have gotten hurt. Nobody really wanted to watch a second match, and there could have been some injuries, and I'm not entirely confident we would have won. And I'm always confident in my sides, but I felt Coach Maurice won that. But some of the good kid fans still have hopes and dreams that we maybe could have, and perhaps we could. But I've got to do what's best for the players and best for the club.
All right, you've given me the invitation. I do have to ask, what's the scoop on the Tony Rat situation?
Yes. So I have had a long relationship with Tony Rat ever since I coached him in the preseason. He invited me to his club, and I was very, very interested. But in my amateur bouts, I was just drawn to trying out vampires, and a very high paying. Tony Rat is he's perhaps I love him. I won't say a bad word about him, but he's a strong businessman, and he's used to getting what he wants. And the vampire team was Twitch gamers were willing to offer more and more control and gave more promises. I now sadly know that the board is not able to keep all those promises, and while I'm looking to finishing out this season, I will say I don't think I'll be coming back. I guess this is an exclusive, me saying this now, but the board promised me things, and I understand not everything is in their control. But had I known everything that was going to happen and all the politics behind the scenes, I might have looked more favorably on Tony Rat's deal. But yes, the lawyers have and the media they don't understand that you can be friends and say no. You can be friends and go different directions. Me and Tony Rat, we are still friends. We still talk so often, and I'm still his strongest champion. And I would love to reunite. It was just different opportunities presented itself at the start of the season, and he understood that once I explained it to him. But all these moneyed interests and media firestorms blew up about it, and I don't respect a lot of them, so I don't talk about it. I just let them fester. But to you, I'm happy just to say the truth, which is quite boring. Quite boring. I wanted a different challenge, and but my relationship with him is not over, and I might. I'm very open to teams next season. I haven't signed strictly on for anyone, so maybe I go back.
Has he made a second bid?
Second bid?
Yes.
We're still in negotiation. Right now, I am just focused on I'm a professional. I'm signed for the Twitch gamers, so I am right now only focusing on finishing the season. But
speaking of focusing on the season, yes. Next week you are set to face Sherman University. How are you feeling about this one?
Quite excited. I have faced Coach Sleepy in every season, and it's always a fun opportunity to try and beat him. I love our matches together, and I don't say that about a lot of coaches. I think a lot of coaches are frauds. I think they're overrated. I think they are get by the strength of the players and not by I'll say it. I'll say the unpopular thing, but Coach Sleepy, he is done back-to-back stints at Ogres, and is performing very well this season. He is a proper coach, and there's a lot of respect, a lot of ribbing. I'm of course hoping to carry on this start a winning streak. Carry on might be a bit too premature, but I wish to absolutely win this match. I think it's a good opportunity for us, but we have a Manlet's team after that. I know there's going to be some two good matches to get into the swing of things before the final week, which I'm a bit nervous about. I'll tell you that.
And the sentiment seems to be shared amongst many of the coaches. in that regard.
The
It,
Cabal or just.
oh,
Well, I said things about coaches who maybe don't deserve it. I'll just leave it at that, Hmm?
noted. And unfortunately, my train out of here is in 15 minutes. Do you have any closing thoughts you want to say to the listeners?
No, I just want to thank them for their support. It has been a rough season. The fans of Twitch gamers, as I said, there's a lot of drama, and I am not happy with the organization that I work for, and I maybe lash out at my players, but the fans I serve, and I'm a professional. I will finish the season to the best of my ability. I know they all understand that I will be moving on. Um, thank you very much, Leslie, and a big thank you to everybody at Cabalvision for the show and for the treatment and for not being the same media as some of those Spike magazine reporters. I know you use them, but they 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 like to invent things. It's all a game to them. But thank you very much, and thank you to all listening for listening to me. I hope you have an excellent rest of your weeks, and please tune into the match and support the Twitch gamers.
Oh, you heard it here first, folks. SHG from the battlefield to the pitch, he's here to serve. This is Leslie Flowers, back to the studio.
Now let us look forward to all of the exciting matches that Week 7 has in store for us, starting with Leslie. Fox's Parkour Pros versus Maurice's Natural Born Fowlers. Do you think there's going to be some exciting action this game?
I mean, we're seeing, Orcs naturally bashy versus, well, a bashy human team. I mean, obviously pegging Maurice for the win, but I don't think it'll be an easy one or a free one.
Ayo? Pegging? Huh? Sorry, that was unbefitting of this show. Sorry, cut that out. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Leslie, for that insight. Moving on, Mr. Skulls. Sleepy Shuriman University will be facing SHE's the Twitch Gamers. Can Coach SHE keep a winning streak going? Or will the ogres use their mighty blow?
Use their mighty blow indeed. I think that's what as usual, that's what it's gonna come down to. SHG again certainly has a shot at this. Those vampires, agility 4, they can certainly run laps around the ogres, but the major problem is going to be those mighty blows taking off, not even the vampires, just taking off enough thralls for the vampires to not be able to sustain themselves on the pitch. Hunger is always a problem with them. And also the Noblar is gunking up the line of scrimmage enough that the vampires just can't get past them.
I
So
see.
yeah, it's really anyone's game. It might come down to a few lucky turns. I'm gonna be honest.
Or it might come down to who rolls more boneheads versus bloodlusts, perhaps.
Ah.
All right, well, let's take it back to Leslie. Leo's Bulging's BBC 4 versus Doc WTF's baseless accusations. Leslie, do you think this is going to be a calm match?
Knowing Leo and his propensity for fouling, I wouldn't call it calm. I doubt he's going to win. I mean, like I said it last week, I'll say it again. It would take nothing short of a miracle for him to get a win.
Yeah, the odds on bellpolishers.oldworld are not good. They've got Coach Leo at 35 to 1 for a win and over 100 to 1 for a win by more than 2 touchdowns. So I just, it's not going to happen, let's be frank.
Imagine that payoff though.
Wouldn't be working here, I'll tell you that much.
I'll say perhaps I'll do a bit of a, you know, cheeky betting next week, let's say.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, if you want,
Not sponsored.
I mean, if you want to throw your money away, like, I'm just saying, you put your mortgage on Doc. It's the freest money you'll ever make.
Sure. You can get a nice holiday to Lustria with some companions. I've
Yeah,
heard.
you
I've
guys,
heard. Anyway, that's.
you guys are
Use.
haters. I believe in my boy. Look, man, he got that sponsorship money. He's got
Mm.
time to train. Now's the time.
Well, dear listeners,
We'll
whatever
see.
you. Oh, sorry.
We'll see next week.
Well, dear listeners, whatever you choose, if you do go to bellpolishers.oldworld, use code Bico League Show for 5 gold pieces free bet.
Oh,
Moving
we are
on.
sponsored. Oh shit.
Let's move
Oh,
on now. I'm so excited. Caprice Cretin Community College versus Moonbears 105.2 Hard Rock Cabal. This is the real marquee match of the next week, with reports already in that due to the building anticipation for the top two coaches to finally face each other, the date has been pushed back so a higher attendance number can come and watch. I know for a fact that for both coaches, this is the biggest match of their respective seasons, with quite possibly the season championship on the line for whichever of them wins. I've already heard that Coach Capri has hired an amateur Chaos Dwarf team to stand in for the Cabal in some practice sessions, and I can only wonder if Coach Moon will employ similar strategies. All listeners, this is the match to watch for. It so much is on the line. Whoever wins is in an incredibly, again, I hate to bring it back to bellpolishers.oldworld. Please use code Bico League Show.
we are sponsored.
Whoever wins this match has an 85% chance of winning the season championship. So huge pressure for both coaches. You gotta watch it.
Yeah, and absolutely, the outcome of the match has massive implications for the league winner and for all three, for the top three coaches. Every result changes things drastically. As in a win, a loss, or a tie on either side has massive implications for who the
Everyone.
winner is. As we all know, a tie for first place dictated by head to head. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you're gonna want to see that one. If you go to one of these 5 matches, all I'm saying is that's the one I'd recommend.
Leslie, will you be at this match?
You know it. Two Beshi teams going at it. Why would I not be there?
We'll be chowing down on some chili cheese fries in the VIP room. It's gonna be prim.
I don't know if either Cretin Community College or the Hard Rock Cabal have a stadium quite to the caliber of Shariman Stadium.
Oh,
But
we'll
let's hope they
bring
have
our
some
own
chili fries.
man.
Will you swing by Shariman University first?
Yeah,
Get some.
absolutely. Fucking
And
look, order by portal. We can get a new sponsor.
well, let the lawyers figure out some contracts first. We're not shouting out anything that doesn't make us a buck, am I right? A bit of a... We got racks on racks here.
Shit, man. If they bring my fries warm, then I'll shout them out all they want.
The Bico League Show does not endorse the views of our individual presenters. And now, sadly, it is time for our show to end. Thank you all very much for listening to Cabalvision HD's Bico League Show presented by Bloodweiser. Thank you for joining us, Leslie.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Mr. Skulls.
Goodbye.
Stay tuned for the Week 7 broadcast coming to your crystal ball soon. I've been Jim, and happy bowling.